Hi guys, today I made this delicious vegan spiced carrot, orange and coriander soup, and when I say that it was delicious and vegan, trust me, this is not some bland vegetable soup recipe that only vegans will enjoy. Meat eaters will love this too. You need to start off by placing a dry frying pan over a high heat and adding 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1 star anise, and stir them up for a few minutes until they start to toast and become really aromatic. All of these spices go really well with either carrot or orange or both, but if there are any that you really dislike, just leave them out. Now you need to grind them up really well, and a spice grinder like this takes all the work out of it. Just clamp the lid on and grind it up until you can feel that it's all a really nice fine powder. Then just set it aside until later. Next, you're going to need to take roughly 500 grams of carrots and peel them, then cut off the top and tail, then slice them up. You don't have to slice them thinly at all, but I do suggest you cut them at an angle so that there'll be thick parts and thin parts that will caramelize up in the oven really nicely. Next, take 1 large onion and peel it before you slice it chunky as well and add it to the carrots. Next, you're going to need 5 garlic cloves and just separate them from the bulb, but don't peel them. You want to roast them in their skins so that they'll steam and become really nice and sweet and delicious. Now I'm going to add in a whole red chili with the seeds, but without the stalk. Don't worry if you can't handle heat here. This will just give the vaguest suggestion of a hint of heat. It's nothing to worry about. Now drizzle over about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I'm using rapeseed oil here because I like the flavour and I really like that it's really nice and yellow, which will help the soup. Now add about 2 teaspoons of sea salt flakes plus the ground spice mix from earlier, and you're going to need to toss this all up, and the best way of doing this is with your hands, even though I hate getting my hands dirty like this, but just toss it all up so that all the veg is nicely coated in oil and spice. Now transfer it to a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius and allow it to roast for about 50 minutes to an hour, or until everything is just starting to char. In the meantime, juice some oranges. These ones were massive, too big for my citrus press, so I quartered them before juicing them. It didn't really work out so well, so I juiced them by hand. I used 3 big oranges here, but just make sure that you have enough for 200 milliliters of squeezed orange juice. Then just set it aside until later. Then once the veg are nice and charred, take them out and let them sit until they're cool enough to handle. Now peel the garlic cloves and discard the skins. You can do this with a knife and fork if you like, if the garlic is still too hot to handle. Once that's all done, transfer the veg and garlic to a large saucepan or casserole. Then add a bunch of fresh coriander, stalks and all. This weighed about 30 grams. Pour over the freshly squeezed orange juice, followed by 500 milliliters of vegetable stock. Now turn the heat up to high and stir regularly until it comes up to the boil. Once boiling, I blitzed it up with an immersion blender. You can use a normal blender if you want, but just make sure that it's heat proof and has that spout at the top to allow the steam to go. Or you could use a food processor as well if you like. I added another 200 milliliters of water here because this soup was actually proving to be a bit too thick, but just play it by ear yourself. Add more or less water according to how thick you like it. Then remember to taste and check for seasoning, and if it needs be, add more salt. Then just stir that in or serve now, or you can set it aside and heat it up later. Just before serving, as the soup is heating up, place a dry frying pan over a high heat and add 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds. Shuffle them about for a few minutes until they just start to pop like popcorn, then take them off the heat and transfer them to a serving bowl. Then I would serve the soup at the table and let everyone ladle out as much as they want. Remember that this soup is vegan and gluten-free, so you can feel totally guilt-free about having 3 big ladlefuls of it. Just garnish with a few fresh leaves of coriander, a little sprinkling of toasted pumpkin seeds, and a small drizzling of extra virgin olive oil. This soup really was so delicious, and all the spices worked so well together and really complemented the sweet tang from the orange juice. And my brown soda bread worked really well to dunk into it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you liked this recipe, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. You can check me out on social media if you like. You'll find all the links to my social media accounts in the description, as well as the link to my blog where you'll find this full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.